It's a beautiful day, and I say a very big welcome to all of us to the conversation room. And I especially want to welcome the children. I know some of them are on midterm break as we speak, so I welcome all of them. You are our future leaders, and today we'll be celebrating you. Tomorrow, Nigeria will be marking yet another Democracy Day, and for this particular government, it will be 2 years in office celebrating the Democracy Day. And we know that in a little while, again, time flies. They will just be handing over to the next leaders to rule Nigeria. And I know that with time, these future leaders will be the ones to take up the mantle of leadership. My question now is, how prepared or how are the children being prepared for tomorrow's job, which is job of leading Nigeria right? Are the parents doing what they're supposed to do? Are the children up to their neck with what they're supposed to learn for the job, the task ahead tomorrow? The show is Conversation, and here we will be asking you to join us live via our telephone lines. And I'll tell you, it is strictly SMS and WhatsApp. Yes, we don't take calls. My name is Elizabeth, and I have with me in the house other parents, other guardians, and I'll start with Dara. I'm back. It's good to be back.
It's good. Hello, my name is Joy Opanachi, and this is one topic I really want to talk about. Yeah,
I know.
Yes.
Hello.
Hi everyone, it's good to be here.
Okay, and we have the only man in the house. Before I get to mention what I know about you, I'd like you to first introduce yourself and say hello to people.
Yeah, good morning, everyone. I am Abba Saidu. I'm the Executive Director of Glisten Academy.
Okay, so I was just trying to say that you are a guardian and you are in charge of a lot of children. A whole lot will be demanded of you as we talk. And a good thing, you're also representing the male gender. Yes. As the father figure for the children. So now, a lot of times we question our children and we wonder if they're able, to take up that mantle of leadership. Surprisingly, in Nigeria, a lot of times children surprise us. They do so well. There are a lot of children who are celebrities, even almost as toddlers. I don't know if you know them. I want to join Ahi to see if she has something ready for us to celebrate our young Nigerian children who are doing well. Well, before she joins us, we would like to know, I don't know, what do you think is the reason why children are not so well doing today?
I've always said it that parents have to be intentional, and it's from the home. And I think the problem we're having with parents is that they expect the teachers to do their jobs. And excuse me, how many kids can you concentrate on as a teacher? And the parents have lost it. We can say all we want to say. Certain things are more important to them than their kids. And, I have there's some people I know, they said, I have like 3 kids. I have their caregivers, their nannies are the ones supposed to do those stuff. And I always say that what you don't know, you can give. So if you bring a nanny from the village, her perception of life is totally different from the perception of the life of the kids. So here we are having parents who are sitting down and expecting magic, and when the kids turn out bad, normally the father we say is the mother's child. Then when the child is good, it's the father's child. There's a big problem. Too many homes are dysfunctional. We have to wake up, sit up, if we want our society to be good.
You're completely right, because we expect so much from our teachers. At the end of the day, we're actually our first, role models for our children. I recall when we had this conversation backstage, you talked about one certain party, and the influence on children. You want to share that with us?
Yes. Like the parties I attended as a child
is different.
They are different. Those are not the kinds of parties that
Yeah,
small children
true.
are attending now.
Yeah,
You
true.
must be the same age with Zeke and Awolowo.
I guess so. I guess so because
Because the world has moved on.
and the problem is not the children.
Yeah.
It's the adults.
Yeah.
It's the adults. It's particularly the parents. So I'm completely in alignment with Joy. Your child is your direct responsibility. Any other person is just a support system. So you are the one that will lead on how that child eventually turns out. Children's parties nowadays, and that's why I'm still blaming the parents, because as a DJ, if you tell me I'm going to DJ a children's party, I will bring music that is danceable to, yes, but it will not have profanity. I'll not bring music that has profanity in it. I'll not bring music that has swear words in it. I'll not bring music that the lyrics are corrupting.
Yeah.
There's plenty of clean music that is highly danceable and enjoyable.
A lot of them.
And modern and current. You don't even have to go back into the 90s and 80s to get, there is still that kind of music. But I went to church one evening because I got my stuff mixed up and I was trying to attend evening mass. And lo and behold, it turned out to be one of those bazaar things and things. So I got to church and there was a children's activity going on. The music that was being played, as far as I'm concerned, was blasphemous for the environment within which it was being played. Then let's not even talk about the audience. These are small children. They might not have any perception of what they are listening to, what they are imbibing, but they will go somewhere and mouth the same thing they have been listening to. But I did not blame the children. I blamed, first of all, the priest that allowed that kind of music to be played in church. I blamed the parents because parents were around in a supervisory capacity. Then last, I blamed the DJ for not having sense. But not much blame on the DJ. I'm only blaming him because he's an adult at all. I don't expect the typical...
Don't blame DJs.
That's what I'm saying. The typical, I'm sorry if people are going to feel bad, the typical DJ does not have sense. So I'm only blaming him because he is as an adult. That's the only reason. Otherwise, most DJs are coming there, their main priority is to get you to dance. So even if it's satanic music, as long as you get up and dance, they feel they've done their job, they are leaving. That's why I first blame priest, because this was a church environment. Second, the parents that were still there that could have told the DJ, this music is for children. If you don't have something different, we can remove you and quickly bring somebody else. No, they were there and they allowed that crap to be played. Then, of course, the DJ. And so I don't have the children. I'm not saying anything about the children. They don't know.
To a large extent, nowadays, when people prep up for events, they actually take scrutiny of the music.
I agree.
DJs who know their audience will ask you to send them their
That's exactly why I said my first person that I'm blaming in this context
because
is the priest.
sometimes I organize events and the first thing when you put all the people and it comes to DJs, the first thing the DJ will ask me is that, what's the event about?
Exactly.
Okay, what kind of music do you want? 80s, 70s, this. You know, they try to explain to you because, like Devin said, I went to a party as a grown-up, as somebody who is much elderly. When I was hearing the songs,
Joy, you are a lot of things, but you are not elderly.
All right, if you say that, and guess what? I didn't even know the lyrics of the song. Guess who was singing all the songs?
The children.
It was the children. They are so good in catching up, you know.
Yes, I know that as a school operator and a manager, you also, take care of kids. This particular party we're talking about happened in primary school. Your school has a primary arm, right?
Yes, we do.
Okay. So what are we doing, wrong? I'm not talking about your school now. What are we doing wrong in terms of curriculum, in terms of mentorship, to ensure that these children get it right?
I think, in my own view, it's basically start from parenting. I think we're losing the core cultures of parenting that we used to have. And back then, where we were kids, when we were growing up, we know that even your neighbor had some kind of parenting and guardianship that shapes you. Sometimes, if you do wrong, you're sometimes in some homes you're more scared of your neighbors too because you don't dare do it. So it starts from the home and then the community as a whole. Where you live is quite important for where your children grow up. Quite often you see these days, because of the hustle and bustle of our society, so many things are making the parents overwork and do so many things, and they neglect the most important things in their life, which is the parents, because they don't have time for their parents. And
for their kids.
Yes, for their kids, so their kids, thank you. And when that happens, you begin to see, you leave those things just like what we've all shared here. You leave the parenting to house helps, teachers, friends, and that's where they learn all these things. And the moment you begin to see these things, sometimes it's too late. Maybe an incident has happened, so and you go. So it's more important for you to have a conversation with your child, teach them about sex education, drugs, the things that you need to behave, how the environment needs to behave. Then on the larger perspective, I think is a community. These days we don't have that neighbor relationship anymore. So we're living more like what we see in movies, you know. Solo actors, you understand. So your neighbors, you don't probably know what they're going into, and sometimes it's even your best option, because he's supposed to tell you when something is going wrong. What your child is, you're supposed to have a good relationship, and so that it manifests on the entire community. So wherever your child is going, I think it's quite important for you to probably design where your child is supposed to go in, knowing how you've instilled the values of your child. How do you want him to behave based on your culture? Because I mean, we're Nigerians and Africans. We have cultures deep rooted in us.
True.
In the end, we shout and say we're cultured people, and but we lack what the essence of the cultures are, and this is what we're losing these days from parenting as a whole, and it ramifies from the home deep into the community, and that's why we have these problems.
All right, that's a good one. Now, earlier on, I did mention that we needed to celebrate some of our children. We may not have them all, but I know that he was able to compile some. And if it's ready, can we have these children celebrated? They are also positive role models for other children.
The children of today will become the leaders of tomorrow. But that cannot be possible if these children do not have a dream and if they are not mentored right. It is amazing to know that great things are attainable from within our own community. I mean, we get so elated when our children are excelling in diverse fields. We have children excelling in diverse fields like Emmanuela Samuel, Emmanuela Samuel was 5 years old when she became a sensation in the Nigerian comedy skit scene.
Is you. Anybody that mess, that person will go to hellfire. Yes. Anybody that mess, God will punish that person.
Yes, and anybody who mess, thunder will fire that person.
Yes. Anybody that mess, the person will do motor accidents.
Is you.
She so much wowed the audience when she first appeared on an episode 34 of Mark Angel's YouTube page that she became a series regular and then became an international sensation. Though still very young, she has won several awards, including the 2016 Top Subscriber Creator from Sub-Saharan African YouTube and 2021 Nickelodeon Kids' Choice Awards for Favorite African Social Star. Kanyeyachuku Tagbo Okeke is one Nigerian child who took his passion for painting and earned him a spot in the Guinness World Record book. He successfully painted a 12,303 square meters painting on a canvas. This world-breaking artwork, aptly named Impossible is a Myth, is an inspiration for Nigerian children. Fatima Adamu Meikusa, a Nigerian-bred mathematics genius who at just 14 years old won 7 international math competitions. Mary Love Edward. She is Nigeria's youngest and most talented tennis player. She has played in several tournaments, locally and internationally, to the admiration of many and the pride of our nation. Jare Ijalana. She is a child model, became an international sensation when her pictures hit the internet. It earned her the title, the most beautiful girl in the world. She is now a child international model, gracing international magazines. Zuriel Uduwole. She is a renowned child activist who came to limelight at age 10. She advocates for education for the girl child and has interviewed several presidents of several countries to sink in her point. She is also a film documentary maker. Eniola Shokumbi. She is a 12-year-old American-Nigerian inventor, celebrated for her air filtration system. And recently, we have the students of Gliston International Academy who brilliantly represented Nigeria at the VEX Robotic Championship, where they placed our scientific prowess on the global map. As we all can see, the list of Nigerian child stars and geniuses is endless. It further proves the point that yes, children have a dream. And yes, they can. But it can only be possible if we steer them on the right path. So it is our duty to do so.
Yes, they can. Yes, we can. Even as parents, collectively lift the children up. And I know that the last VIX Robotics, you were part of it. Tell me, how were you able to train those children to be able to represent Nigeria in robotic championship competition?
Well, it takes a lot. It takes a lot of dedication from the school management, the parents and friends, and the students themselves, the coaches, because the preparations is not one that you do just a fire brigade approach to it, because it takes planning, it takes time to purchase this equipment, understand what kind of models you use, doing a first prototype, the reiteration, and you have to try again, doing another prototype until they get it right. So it takes a lot of time from the coding aspect of it, and also having to get the students prepared, because sometimes even if they're not well prepared in terms of what happens in their mental faculty, it becomes also a problem, because sometimes
are the children even willing to be part of it? Are they excited?
They are more than excited. Students, when because it's hands-on, they see that they could do a lot of things with it. They begin to have ideas to solve our immediate problems, because by the time you show someone the light in the tunnel, you could see where the holes are, or you could see what happens. So they even go beyond those areas that we're even trying to limit them to design this thing. So we usually prepare them in different teams. You have the coders, the ones that write the programming. You have those that do the engineering work, and you have maybe the book takers, the ones that do the administrative work, to see how they get them. So they learn quite a number of things like critical thinking skills, problem solving. There's a lot of disagreements between them, and sometimes that's where we have to step in to see, okay, how we get them to get along, or get them to remodel the teams, because you have to put them in different teams for them to succeed. So it takes quite a lot to prepare. Yes.
Okay, interesting. You were talking about the chess kids.
Yeah, the chess. What's that Nigerian guy who I think what's his name? Is this Yoruba guy? So I think what he does.
Oh yes, I recall
yeah.
him.
So what he does,
He's
you know,
Guinness Book
he
of Records.
does a lot of work. So he goes to different places, gets them together. They were in America. You know, they came second, but they were so good. You know, and what I loved about them, they wore our outfit. But one thing he said was that the parents knew that they were good at this thing. So the parents supported the children. Take them for activities, they take them for programs. See, your nanny is not going to know that. And you see, and that's what we're saying is that I keep telling parents, not every child is going to be a doctor. Not every child is going to be a lawyer. You know those days, look at my friends now. They take their kids to academy. They want their kids to play football. 20 years, excuse me, you can't tell my father he wants to be a footballer. He wouldn't accept it. But now we have seen that these kids are taking their parents off poverty, you know, because we have to change our mindsets. Don't let kids be what you were not. The kids want to be footballers. That is what they love. And you see, the thing about the way children's mindsets are is that if this is what they love and this is what they want to do, please, parents, try and support them.
All right. You want to chip in something on it?
Yes. I want to come in on the angle of like maids, nannies, and things like that in the house. I grew up in a home where my parents both worked. So I was left in the house with
caregivers.
Yeah, of which one was my granny. Then one was the houseboy, as we say, and then one was the family friend's daughter. He had fallen on her time. She was in our home, going to school and all that, and of course. So I would say that in a manner of speaking, I was raised by caregivers because they spent more time with me in the house than my parents. But you see what, back then we had a communal value system.
Sure.
It's known as collectivism.
Yeah.
What is right and proper in this house is right and proper in this house. We had a shared value system.
Yeah.
So stealing was wrong in house A, B, C, D, E.
Sure.
Lying, same thing.
Yeah.
So these people were able to hold space for my parents because the communal values were the same. They were not telling me something that was different from what my parents wanted. Plus, my grandmother was in the house. So where we have gone wrong as a society is we are flirting with individualism, which is the Western culture that prioritizes the self, that says, I am the only person that matters in this space. So in my marriage, I'll prioritize myself, not even my children, not my husband. My husband will prioritize himself. The children will prioritize themselves. Then you find everybody don't face their own direction inside one house. There's no community. There's no union. There's no unity of purpose.
Cell phones.
Exactly.
The digital life is terrible.
As he had mentioned before, when I was growing up, any neighbor would correct you if you were doing something wrong.
Again.
And it would go exactly in tandem with what your parents would have wanted.
Yeah.
The only place where there might be difference of opinion is how discipline is meted out.
Yes.
Somebody might not want you striking their child. You might go above board. It makes sense. But whether there will be no dissonance as to whether this thing is wrong or not. So in school, then there's an agreement that this particular behavior is wrong. In the house, there's an agreement that this behavior is wrong. In the immediate community, and it tallies with the cultural values. Now we've lost all of that. So if a child comes to my house and they're jumping on the chair and being a monkey, I'm afraid to speak. Yes, I'm afraid to speak because I don't allow my kids to do that. But maybe this parent is allowing their child to do this because they say they want their child to be expressive. Your child can go be expressive at your expense. They shouldn't come and be expressive in my house. Because when I take my child visiting people, I don't let them jump on the couch. I get them to sit in one place. So now that everybody is doing what works for me best, there is dissonance.
It's a problem.
So if I see somebody's child going wrong, I cannot correct them because I don't know what the parent will come and say to me.
Exactly. Yes.
There are parents who are encouraging their children to be disrespectful because they think that they are teaching the child how to protect themselves. Yeah. There are parents who are teaching their daughters to go out and sell their bodies, particularly women. There are parents that are teaching their children to go out and do 419.
Yeah. It's crazy.
Yes. So,
like, don't you know what others are doing?
For anyone that's going there, because where you have over 80 countries participating in the world's largest robotics competition, you have countries all over the world. Mention China, Japan, the UK, name it, Singapore, countries in Africa as well, and all that. So it's a life-changing experience because you have, I think, estimately probably 1 million people visiting the booths, visiting the events. It's a big event. It's called the largest robotics competition in the world. So for them, they learn a lot of things because they begin to see children, or they meet other children from other parts of the world, sometimes even without with the barriers. So you see them even with interpreters, Google Translate or something, or whatever they could use to translate their communication. So what it teaches them, for me most, I think, is the communication skill, because it's quite important. Everybody wants to be a doctor, everybody wants to be an engineer, but we lack the common basic skill that is missing. It's getting missing every time because of the deployment of technology, social medias, and what have you. Even the parenting we're talking about is because we're lacking communication skills. So I think, for me, I think that's one of the most important things that they learned there. For them to be able to go there and win an award, the Inspire Award, because this is our 4th year representing Nigeria, because we're representing Nigeria. We carried the flags, we shared our culture, wear our attires, and it's quite amazing the way other countries like Nigeria. You need to see, maybe if you're able to visit one of the pages, and when you hear "Welcome Nigeria," it's just like at the Olympics when you call the countries Nigerians, and the cheers and all
There's
those
a pride.
Yes, there's a pride, and one other thing, they like our music.
Oh, wow.
So they come dance at our booth, and they take our snacks. I think our booths was one of the most visited booths, because they like our candies,
our kuli-kuli.
Yes, our kuli-kuli and all those things. We took it out there with our little pendants, our flags, and they were just coming, sharing pictures, taking pictures. But I think that's where they were able to do. I think that's what the achievement, to answer your question, I think is life fulfilling for them, because it opens their horizon to know that, okay, they could do whatever they want to do. They're no different from people all over the world, and they've made friends, they could connect, and coming home with an award, the Inspire Award, which no African team in the whole Africa got that award. So I think we're quite proud of that achievement.
Is a leader.
Yeah, so at least we know carry last.
All right, those are the good records we want to hear. And I know that yesterday you were out there to a primary school. I don't know the name precisely, but I know that you try to chat with the children, and in line with democracy, they all had projections. They call themselves the mini ministers and changers of Nigeria. Can we get to have that activity with them? And for those who are, watching us at the moment, I need you to also go to our, page and find out, get the right numbers, of course, and then send us what you want to be tomorrow and how you're going to change Nigeria with what you become. Whether it's a minister or a teacher, we're waiting for that. Borrow your mother's phone, borrow your father's phone if you're home, and send us that message. Right now, let's join Ehi on the Vox Pop on the children, future leaders, and how they will change Nigeria.
Democracy is said to be a government of the people, by the people, and for the people. And so you would agree with me that today's children will become tomorrow's leaders. Join me as I head into a school premises to ask prospective leaders of tomorrow, what they'll do to better a part of our economy.
Agriculture.
So what would you do to make agriculture better?
To make agriculture better, I will make sure that there are securities on the farm to ensure that the farmers are protected. I will also provide more equipment and apparatus for the farmers to ensure and make sure that their farming go effectively.
Education.
Okay.
If I am made the Minister of Education, I will build more schools in local areas so that people who don't have money, they can attend school and become people in life. And I will also make sure that the salaries of teachers are increased in the school.
If I become the Minister of Power, I will provide more electricity across the country and provide more electricity to industries to build the economy. Health, Minister of Health.
Okay.
I will build more hospitals, employ nurses and doctors, and provide free vaccine for the young, old, and pregnant women.
Communication and information. If I was made the Minister of Information and Communication, I'll make sure that there are more mobile phones for people to collect when they need it, and people in the rural areas will have a landline where they can communicate with people. There will be more internet connection between people, services for network will be available, and people will be able to communicate with each other.
Finance. If I'm to be made the Minister of Finance today, I will make sure that the rate of money laundering is reduced. I will increase the rate of printing of notes to make it easy for Nigerians to buy and purchase goods and services.
If I'm made the Minister of Petroleum, I will stop oil bunkering in the country. I will also reduce the cost of fuel in gas stations, and I will also increase the exports of crude oil.
Out of the mouth of babes and sucklings comes wisdom. And now you've heard it. Let's head back into the studio.
It's amazing. You know, we were just having our own backdoor talk on that because it's amazing what we came back with. You know, the children were not prepped for it, and see them, you know, offering answers freely. It gives me, when I saw that thing yesterday, actually, I had a bit of a goosebumps, and I kept thinking, so these children know all of this. Because we often think that they are limited to playing their video games. So in spite of those video games, they see the problems that are going on, and they actually proffer solutions. I don't know, what's your take on it?
You see, now, you see, many parents tend to watch the news. You know, before, normally, when we were growing up, you know, we knew the time that was news time, because you have to make sure that your parents, your parents will tell you, this is what's happening. And kids, yes, they're on social media as well. On what they're watching, they know what's happening. Your parents are talking. Like I say, if your parents are intentional and they're close to you, there's sometimes you sit down, you talk, you discuss. And the one that shocked me there was one of the child talking about oil bunkering. And I was a bit taken aback, because here I am wondering, how do kids know that when these people that do this bunkering thing, they take what's meant for us and take it for themselves? Because for me, that one was kind of key for me. And you see, this shows that these children are in tune to what's happening. Their parents, you see, if they have to go to hospitals, their parents cannot afford it. You know, that's why many people go on self-medication and they go to pharmacies. So they understand certain things. Excuse me, most schools don't have libraries. So if you don't have a library, what do you know? So you see, and like we say, it's what you don't know, what you cannot learn, you're blank.
True.
That's why they say knowledge is power.
True.
And that thing is so key. So I'm kind of very happy that in spite of the situation that we find ourselves, in spite of the situation our kids find themselves, they're in tune with what's happening, and they want the country to be better, and they're striving to make themselves get to that position and try to change what's happening.
It's important.
I want my parents to provide for me and protect me, love and care for me, fight for me, and discipline me.
I would like them to enroll me in sporting activities like football and other stuff.
I would love my parents to provide more educational materials for it to impact me and other of my school fellows.
I want my parents to continue to encourage me, help me in any way I have issue with, and feed my needs.
I would like them to teach me good values and take me to a good school where I can learn.
I would like my parents to give me a good education and a good home training. And I also want them to love and care for me.
I would like them to be kind and let them not be stressful for me. I let them take me to school and be always helping me and supporting me.
I would like maybe a private study where I can be able, because I love reading alone, that's the only way I can concentrate. And maybe next, they can buy for me books that are not, I don't like all these books that contain formulas, and I love reading, like novels, and I would like my own library.
That was from recently done NTA Children's Party, courtesy of NTA Knowledge, and we saw it all out there. Children demanding their rights, children demanding that parents should provide something for them to hold on to make their tomorrow better. I like the fact that a lot of them, unpredicted, they also told us that they needed better libraries, they needed better books to be able to do well. They needed to go to school. It shows awareness. But then you are in the educational sector, and I'd like to know, are the children at the moment being taught, how to create jobs on their own, how to be self-sustainable, how to also be a better Nigerian and a better leader tomorrow? Are the curriculum carrying this along, and how do they do it?
Well, I think in the general note, I would say no. Kids are not learning how to be sustainable, how to create jobs.
Honestly, another person would have come here to tell us.
Let's be honest with ourselves. Yes, there are a few people that make the difference, and just from the video you watch over there, I believe it's a different school. You can tell that the kids had good communication skills. They know they're in tune. If you take the same interview to another school, I believe you get a different result. So for each school, every school is kind of unique, and that's where everyone. And there's no one school that's different, is the same with any other school in the world. So one school might teach values, cultures to another school might teach business or anything that suits in line with their vision. But in a general note, I don't think we're doing something in the curriculum. It's just of recent that the government is trying to bring in skills acquisitions, for them to learn how to create jobs, with all the recent happening from the Ministry of Education. But I know it will take time. It's long overdue, and even with what they've itemized, the list, I think there are still lots to be done, and I know it's going to take time to implement all those changes. Because just like I used to say, my mother used to say, you don't see chemistry on the way when you are going to the market. You have to really dig deep, for them to. So for other schools they're doing amazing jobs to empower our kids to learn what's needed for the future jobs, because no one can really predict the future. You can't be certain, but you can only predict or watch from trends and from history, or maybe guesswork, and maybe from foresight, insight, or hindsight. So people use those activities to prepare the kids to say, okay, this is what the future will look like. So what skills are they needed? What can they do? From looking at our curriculum as core as it is, when you're talking about libraries, how many students go to the libraries? How many, and are the libraries the way they are they suited for this generation? You know, it will surprise you that most of the information our kids get are from the movies, music,
Google,
and yes, and from their short reels that they get, and that's how they process this information. Because information is quick, it's like it goes like milliseconds. You know, they get these informations, and yet it leads to other problems because at the time that they are focused on one thing, they lose focus again. So one of the biggest problem I think we should also focus on when you're trying to deploy probably technology, because one of the ways you can accelerate information and knowing, allowing children learn from what's happening around the world and preparing them for jobs and seeing exemplary works that other people are doing in other sectors like agriculture, health, especially with the advent of AI and artificial intelligence and all that is they lose focus easily. They can lose focus easily because you can see so many things flying at the same time and the next minute. So they kind of lose focus, and it's something when you are trying to deploy technology you need to be wary of. You need to design it in such a way that you make them have focus one at a time, process the information, then take them out of that zone, you know, away from the frenzy of digital, because it also has its own implications. So, yes, so I think...
All right, so it's a good one. Now, I also think that those of you in the school educational sector also have a lot of challenge. You know, my uncle once told me that when you go to a ceremony and they give you hot drink, you use the hot mouth to drink it. When they give you a cold drink, you use a cold mouth to drink it. It means when the music changes tone, you should be able to dance to it.
Exactly.
Children are beginning to learn, like you said, from short reels and all of that. When we are creating content for a curriculum, I think that we should be able to create short reels that are educational, that are empowering, that are, you know, at the same time with decent, subtle entertainment, and post them on the reel. And the children can consume those things you were telling them about in the classroom. They can consume it better when they are now watching the short reels at home. And I also want to, you know, beg our parents that when you buy devices for your children, you can actually control what they watch by opening the setting of whether it's Instagram or Facebook or anything, the kind of content that come in, let it be, you know, censored, so your children can only, you know, absorb that, which is good. But then let's go to Devon. You've come down a little bit. From the home angle, how should we begin to prepare our children to take off that mantle of leadership? I know in my place that once you're the first daughter or first son, a lot is expected from you. But then, I'm not sure if our president today is the first son, but he is the first father. So everybody can become a leader. How do we empower our children to be better Nigerians and greater leaders tomorrow?
It's a good question, and it's a difficult one also, in my opinion, because you can't give what you don't have.
Oh, wow.
If the parent is already somebody that lacks sense, they will not be able to put anything meaningful in the child.
True.
You understand?
That's a sad one.
Yes, because, and the reason I'm saying that is because of another video that surfaced on social media where children, I think the oldest child in that video was probably maybe 11. There was also a toddler there, maybe a 3-4-year-old. And these children were twerking. One actually lay down on the ground and was wiggling her waist. And they were surrounded by people who, if they were not parents, were at least old enough to be parents. And you would think they would have enough sense to, but there was this lady filming the whole thing, and, you know, generally encouraging it, as the case may be. So if that kind of person, that woman I just mentioned, is a parent, what meaningful thing do you think she will put in her child? And then again, fathers. Fathers take, many fathers, I didn't say most, I didn't say all, many fathers have a tendency to take a back seat when it comes to parenting. I don't understand why, especially if you and your wife go to work. You both go to work. You both come back. Madam hits the kitchen while you stretch out, you relax and all of this. So Madam never gets a break at any point to rest. But even when it comes to parenting, you are not ready to step up. There is no rule that said that because a woman carried a pregnancy for 9 months, she is automatically a better parent. It's not true. I have found that many mothers, especially in our current era, are terrible parents. I'm sorry, I'm a mother myself. But the kinds of very terrible advice I've seen mothers giving their, particularly daughters, with regard to entering relationships, monetizing their bodies, and things like this, I think that if more fathers were more actively involved, maybe it wouldn't be that bad. True. And I'm not saying that fathers are automatically saints, but I think that in the situation where one parent is bad, maybe the other parent could be better. So if it's a situation where the father is the one that doesn't have sense, hopefully the mother has sense and can help the kids. If it's the mother that doesn't have sense and the father has sense and he steps up, maybe. But at the end of the day, it all lies on what caliber of person is the parent before we can say that, okay, this person has the capacity to raise a child that will have sense.
All right.
Can I just chip in there? There's something, when we were growing older, we used to do sleepovers. It was that was one thing. And
that's something I've not been able to,
No, we used to do sleepovers. And that's how our parents knew who were our buddies, who were our friends, how those families were. 360 degrees. I don't think people encourage it anymore. Why? Because most of the time when kids do sleepovers, that's when some of their kids learn how to smoke, how to drink, like you were saying about when you have to, what do you call it, sanction the, what your kids are watching.
Yes,
and all
social
that.
media.
So you see, the thing here is that when you go do sleepovers, the other parent is not there. So the other one, toxic relationships. And there's this thing I realized with parents. When I was growing up, there was a little, this funny behavior I had. I never used to allow my friends come into the house. And I had a father who stopped it because he didn't understand why. He didn't know who my friends were, who were their parents, you understand. And the thing here is that if your kids' friends come to your house, you can interact with them, you can meet their parents and try to understand. Those things are putting many kids in trouble. Parents have to be very careful about sleepovers.
It is. I one person that do not believe in those things until, like I said, every friend of my child or my children is my friend. That's the first rule. So I make friends with my children's friends, and I try to know their parents beyond just knowing their names. I see them and have a talk with them. A lot of times too, I have their parents' phone numbers.
Very important.
I always, pay attention to the fact that your child comes over to my house and you never call me to say, is she there?
Fantastic.
It's, for me, it's a big no. It tells me that
it's a red flag.
You're not particular about your child. If my child says, I'm going to Devon's place, I'm staying over,
3-4 nights.
I would even call to say she's coming, and when she leaves, I'm going to call to say thank you for accommodating her.
Exactly.
Do you understand? And it's also a way of asking Devon, has she arrived?
Yes.
And if you don't do that, I'll just take it that you don't understand the meaning of your job. You know, a lot of people are writing in here. I don't know if I can take all of it, but as much as I can. Somebody says here that if I made the president of, we said minister, but you've gone to
President. No, I like
president.
that.
He said, if I made the president of Nigeria today, I will make sure that all the children in the streets are moved and go to school. Oh, that's really nice. Thank you so much. That's a good thinking. And another person tells me here, he says, indiscipline amongst present-day parents. Since such parents lack the morality of good discipline, they surely have nothing good in their moral discipline to pass on to their growing children, other than food and perhaps sending them to school. That's not very good. That's not very good.
But that's the reality.
It's reality of life, you know. And more children, I need you to write in to tell me if you are a president of Nigeria, since you've elevated it. You didn't tell me your name anyway, but since you've elevated it, we can also take on positions we desire. If you have dreams of being a leader tomorrow in Nigeria, tell us what that dream is, and at the same time, tell us how you intend to create positive change within that sector. And then before we go, on a last note, what would be your advice to the upcoming child as to being a better child and a better leader tomorrow?
I think they just need to become resilient, stay focused, because the social media and exploration of other tools that are online could be a make or break point for them. So having a vision, as I always advise kids to always have a vision, and surprisingly, most Nigerians kids are confident. Sometimes I think they're overconfident. So we have to also look into that also, to tell them, see, be humble, have that good communication skill, because sometimes we lack. I keep hammering on communication skills, because sometimes they walk into the supermarket, they don't greet people, and they don't get any help. And just by mere greeting, I was telling my son the other day with my kids when we went shopping, I told them, see, have a good communication skill. Look at someone, nod your head, is older than you, tell him good morning, good afternoon. That way, they will be able to. And the moment we walked into an aisle of a superstore, and we were there, and they quickly adopted that. And the person that was trying to fix in something, because they greeted him, felt that, oh, these kids are, and he was willing to help, to say, oh, what are you looking for? Oh, it's on the other side. And, you know, so from there, you have a good communication skill. So having a vision, staying focused, having good communication skills, and knowing the kind of environment you are is also key. With parents, I think we need to do a lot. No one will train your child these days than yourself. Nobody loves your child better than you. So,
all right, so
thank you.
Well, I would say that at the end of the day, the buck stops on the parents' table. As you're trying to teach your children how to be self-reliant, confident, and things like that, there is no harm teaching them basic manners and respect. Respect for their fellow man and self-respect. It matters.
All right.
For me, I'll just be straight up. They say Google is your friend. That's what most kids say. Your parents are your friends, not Google.
True. And make sure that such parents are also good ones. Okay, I'll just take this one more before I leave. My name is Ramat from Lokoja. I see no reason why I can't reject a food that I don't want to eat. Okay, I don't know what you're talking about, but all the same, just be a good Nigerian. Be a good Nigerian. And on my own part, I'll just end up by saying that if you want Nigeria to be better than it is today, it lies in the hands of our young ones. Let's give them the right orientation. Let them enjoy Nigeria, love Nigeria, think Nigeria, breathe Nigeria, and try to be the best we can for Nigeria, because really we don't have any other country. However you say it, this is our home, and our children must live to work and lead this country aright. Bye.